Hi everyone and welcome to Pearls of Fisdom with Nirmal Bang. I'm Avan Dabash. The Allu Arjun Rashmika Mandana starrer movie has broken all records in the history of in the Indian film industry. I'm talking about Pushpa 2, which has certainly been a blockbuster hit. Much needed, and there's not only excitement in the box office, but excitement when it comes to the stock of PVR Inox. Let's understand what this means in terms of occupancy growth, what the outlook is on ad revenue, average ticket spends, as well as what this means for the road ahead for PVR Inox, which is definitely going to stand to benefit. Joining in right now, we have with us our guest. We have Mr. Sanjeev Bijli, who is joining in. He is the Executive Director of PVR Inox. Thank you so much for taking time out. And I think the fact that we have seen so much fervor on the film of this fiery Pushpa 2, there is definitely going to be a big benefit for you. Tell us a little bit more about the renewed optimism and what this could potentially mean for PVR Inox.
No, of course, very happy and excited with the numbers. Pushpa 2 was always looking like a great film. It kept moving because of various reasons. And then finally, when it found its place on December 6th, we've been looking forward to it. It's done phenomenal business over the long weekend. It got released on Thursday. We've clocked in over 40 lakh admissions so far already, which is a huge number. And overall, I think the movie is poised to reach that magical number of 1,000 crores, which is a phenomenal achievement in box office numbers. So, of course, when a movie does well, it kind of is good for the entire industry, for the entire value chain, be it the cinemas or the producers or the distributors. But we're also very happy because back to back, we're having good months now. December is great, and even December is looking great now.
Right, and given that December is set to be one of the best months as well for cinema change, there's strong movie releases typically. What kind of occupancy growth are you anticipating?
It's obviously, we obviously measure quarter on quarter. Quarter one was muted, substantially lower than what we had wanted. Quarter two was much better because we had Stree 2 as a major film that came out amongst other films. And Q3, of course, is looking even better than Q2 now. So we see a growth in the numbers and the number of people coming in now, in the margins and profitability overall improving. So, so financially also it seems to be getting better with every quarter.
So, how are you looking at the overall ticket sales are shaping up? What's the outlook when it comes to your food and beverage revenues? It has been fairly healthy in the October to December period. Your advertising revenues as well has seen decent traction. Will the momentum continue?
Yeah, sure. November, I think we did about 28 to 29% occupancy. Over a crore people came in. This month in December, we're looking at almost 1.5, 1.6 crore people coming in. The ATP is pretty strong, hovering around between 250 to 255, 256 rupees for the month of November. And it'll be slightly higher this month in December. And as far as SPH is concerned, our spend per head on F&B, that seems to be also hovering around 133 to 135 rupees for November and December.
What about the kind of pre-COVID levels that you guys had witnessed? Have we already managed to surpass that? And can you tell us a little bit more about, movies across different languages, different genres, different budgets? What's really worked? What's done well?
Well, as far as this quarter has been is concerned, of course, I think Hindi films worked the most in the month of November. The two big releases, of course, were Singham again and Bhool Bhulaiya. There was a surprise hit towards the end of November with Moana 2. Traditionally, English animation films don't do that well in our market. But Moana 2 seems to be a bit of a breakout hit for us. It did better than what our expectations were for Gladiator 2 and also for Wicked. Although these three films did phenomenally well in the US over the Thanksgiving weekend. In India, the response was a bit muted, but of course, Moana 2 did really well. Now, in the month of December, of course, Pushpa being a multilingual film has broken all records, as you can see. So the share from that is going to be very high. but the December still remains very exciting, and we're very optimistic about the rest of the month with Mufasa coming out uh, later on in the month, and that's also dubbed in many languages. And then the Christmas release, Baby John with Varun, which also looks extremely good. So there's always a mix to your question. It's always like a mix of languages rallying at the box office, some doing better than the others, and some doing better than expected. So, which is really the nature of our business.
And what's the plan when it comes to opening of screens in terms of the asset light model as well as the structured lease model? What's the game plan?
Yeah, no, of course, we've opened so far, YTD, we've opened about 71 odd screens in different geographies, in Bangalore, in Pune, in Mumbai, also in smaller towns like Jabalpur, Dehradun, Machilipatnam in South. So really our mix of screen openings have been in big cities and small cities. And that's, I think, also the opportunity that lies for our business in India, that India is still very underscreened. There are markets and pockets in the country, especially in South India, which are very underscreened. There are tier two and tier three cities where the retail revolution really hasn't evolved much, and there's great opportunity there as well. So we've got a mixed bag of openings. Out of the next 40 screens that we're opening now, we should be opening 40 more screens by the end of this financial year. Again, we have cinemas coming up in various geographies. And then after that as well, every year we're looking at adding a minimum of about 100 screens.
Right, and you spoke of some interesting releases. There's Mufasa, there's Baby John later. What kind of big releases are there, and what kind of occupancy levels are you penciling in?
I think we don't have a visibility of the entire sort of financial year next year, but there is visibility for the next quarter and maybe thereafter. But there is an Akshay Kumar film coming out on Air Force, which is coming out on Republic Day. This year we have also Heretic, the Hollywood horror film, which is coming out in this month, and for which Hugh Grant has been nominated for Best Actor category at the Golden Globes. There is also Vicky Kaushal's film, Shahid Kapoor's film, Ajay Devgan film. All of this is actually coming out in the last quarter. Captain America is coming from Hollywood. And of course, the year after, the next financial year, we have Sikandar with Salman Khan. We have Mission Impossible, Avatar. The list is pretty long.
Well, that sounds super exciting. And there's also re-releases, and that's, I understand, an important part of the growth strategy. Tell us a little bit more about how much it contributes to the total admissions and what re-releases are all about.
Yeah, I think that was quite a successful experiment that we did earlier on in the year. It was in Q1 where a lot of movies postponed the releases because of IPL. So not a lot of new films were getting released, and we decided to release one film, Rockstar, which ended up doing very well. It did about 10 crores at the box office, and that opened up our eyes and to re-release some of the movies, and it's been pretty successful. We've been re-releasing old films every month, and we've had some huge successes with Tumbad, Leila Majnu, and most recently Kal Ho Na Ho. So that's pretty much become something that we're focusing on. It is something that we will work on with a team based out of Mumbai. We're getting good response from the customers and the producers, so everyone's happy. And it's at a lower ticket price. And we curating these shows and handpicking these films very carefully to re-release over the next year also. And it's significantly adding to the footfalls. It's actually adding to about 6% of our footfalls.
And you guys have also been investing in enhancing the F&B offerings. You've got lots of initiatives as well, like Pepsi and popcorn over the weekends. How is this really driving your F&B revenue growth? How do you see that scaling up?
Well, F&B is, of course, a very integral part of the movie watching experience, and it's a very important revenue for us. It's out of the total revenue, 20% comes from F&B, so that's about 2,000 crores. Business is generated by F&B. And we're always on it. We're always on it in terms of adding new SKUs, which we feel, new product offerings, which we feel the customers would like. Plus doing a lot of promotions, such as the one that you mentioned, free refills on weekends, 99 rupee combos, and lots of other promotions. So it's, I mean, this is something that we do day in and day out on how to promote our F&B offerings, not just at the cinema level, but also these days use technology and try to sell F&B even on our app or with aggregators like Zomato and Swiggy, so that the choice of buying the F&B becomes also very easy for the customer, becomes very seamless, and we're able to give a very good experience also to the customer at the cinema.
And we've also seen the adoption of technology. You know, there's 4K, there's IMAX in cinemas, so much more. Do you see a greater emphasis on the premium formats that will drive higher footfalls for PVR Inox? And how are you guys adapting to these trends?
No, these formats, of course, have been around for a while, and I think we've always been very open to introducing these formats to India, because I think the whole idea behind going and watching movies at a cinema, that it should be a larger than life experience. And we're very fortunate that these formats and all this technology is available to enhance the movie-going experience of a customer. And therefore, we've been very open and very of deploying them. We have about 11 to 12 IMAXs around the country, maybe about 20 4DXs around the country. And we're adding more and more because they make the movie-going experience even more immersive, and the customers love it. And they're obviously ready to pay a slight premium for these formats as well.
And can you share some sort of an insight as to what the outlook is? Is there any capital raising on the horizon? Any strategic partnerships? How will you support your growth and expansion? Are you looking at, the international markets? Are you looking at additional acquisitions?
No, none of the above. We're fine as far as capital is concerned and cash flows are concerned. International markets, we just have one cinema in Colombo in Sri Lanka, but we're not expanding yet. Yeah, so no such plans as of now. I think there's plenty to do here. We've got, as I said, a rollout of about 300 screens in the next 3 years, but they're all very carefully chosen, carefully selected markets where there is a demand for multiplexes. And also, we are looking at asset light models this time, where a majority of the investment is actually being made by the developer. So we want to become as asset light as possible and really focus on what our USP is to build great cinemas and deliver the best quality service.
Right. And Sanjeev, one can't really deny the fact that there is a competitive landscape that we have seen, especially with the rise of OTT platforms. Do you think that audience behavior is now changing? Is that a worry for you, or do you see both coexisting?
I think that cinemas really have weathered the storm many times in the last 120 years of its existence. First came the television, and then the DVD and the VHS and satellite TV. So it's nothing new that, every time a new format of watching a film or content at home came up, there was always talk and chatter about competition. And I think the dust settles eventually, and I think people find the need to go out and entertain themselves. It's a very basic human social need to go out and watch a film, and we're seeing that already. We're seeing that already in terms of the box office numbers that these films have recently done. So I think both will coexist. I think long form formats of shows, etc., will always be prominent because we don't show them on streaming platforms. And these larger than life films, which can only be enjoyed on the big screen in a community environment, will also stay and get even bigger and bigger.
Oh, absolutely. I think the thrill and the excitement when you have a successful box office weekend is absolutely unmatched. Thank you so much for taking time out and joining in. It's been a pleasure interacting with you.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell icon to never miss an update from Nirmal Bang.